mic 1. Check, mic check. Can you hear me on Zoom? Okay, we've kind of had an echo. Can you just say that one more time for us, please? Yeah, someone's mic's on. Wu-Sabat Sakam, can you hear us on Clubhouse?
Brothers, no, I can hear you.
Good. I mean, yeah, me. All right, that's good. All right, we just got to figure out the echo from Zoom. Are you live? Yeah, I'm live. Okay. That hum noise is doing my head in. It's that speaker. One.
Yeah.
Ships it around. Alright, we're gonna have to. Okay, Wu-Sabat, greetings everyone. We're still trying to sort out a little technical issue, but let me just let these people in on Zoom. Okay, we're gonna start. Please remember to share the room, invite others on Zoom. We're on Zoom, we're on TikTok, and we're on YouTube as well as Clubhouse. So we're trying to get as many people as we can. Right, we're gonna begin as we normally do with our affirmation. And those who are on Zoom, you can see our screen, so you should be able to follow along.
Anuki Jawef Ashuk Paut Wukalal Ashuk Kawun Jawef Neya Anuki Kasamun Paut Paut Kawun Kasamun Neya Anuki Wahu Paut Paut Kawun Wahu Neya Nakuk Kador Najor Amek Kasambun Paut Wu-Sabat Amek Mushkasum Nakuk Kador Kawan Kalal Pafef Nakuk Aro Jawef Paut Amek Waset Amek Aratni Kawun Laye Akoy Jawef Paut Anuki Abed Be'er Nafashni Paut Kawun Anuki, Paut Kador Nakuk Kador, Paut Amun Nakuk Amun.
Shem's back. We were having a little echo. Yeah, just one more time. Everyone can hear us clearly on Clubhouse and on Zoom. let's just confirm that quickly, please. Rahubat Zamaltat. Kayef Athir Antat Zamut. Okay. So I basically said, how are you today? Alright, so the title of the class today is Collective Global Conspiracy to Keep Blacks Back, Good and Evil. As normal, we start off with a topic to intrigue your mind, and then we're going to lead on to Q&A, question and answers. Anyone who has any question about anything we teach, you have the opportunity to ask us. You know, our motto is ask us anything. So yeah, you'll have the opportunity to ask the question. So I'm going to begin by introducing myself first of all. So my name is Sakam Reye. I am a student teacher of the master teacher Wu-Sabat, who is the being that you see behind me and on the posters around the room. The author of over 1,000 books and counting. And when I read the introduction, I want to read from, it's not really, it's just a little excerpt from this scroll called The Proof by way of Wu-Sabat. He says, a wise person is taught to learn. A fool is taught only to listen and believe. It's plain as black and white. So, anybody want to elaborate what they think that means? So, a wise person is taught to learn. A fool is taught only to listen and believe. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah.
Can hear you.
Well, the wise person would suggest that the wise person would increase their brain capacity, so they learn more while they're on the planet. And a fool will only believe what's being told to them.
Right. Okay, I get that. So it's just like saying, if you teach a man how to fish, you teach them how to survive or eat, isn't it? Constantly, as opposed to if you just feed them for the day when they're hungry, then they rely on you to constantly kind of like feed them. Okay. He goes on to give you the deities of the Bible and the Quran. There are always two sides to everything, so that's like duality. So where you see on the title I've got good and evil, or we could say agreeable and disagreeable. So the real deities of the Bible and the Quran are, on one side you have the Anuna, and on the other side you have the Anunnaki. You have the Anak or the Anakim. El, Elohim, Theos, Theo, Allah, Alihat, God, gods. These are the extraterrestrial aliens who go and tie back to the sons of Anu, who in the Bible is referred to as the Most High. That's Enki and Enlil. Enki is also known by the title Nudimud, and Enlil is known by the title Numnumnir. But in the Bible, Enki will be who they refer to as Yahweh, and Enlil will be who you're referring to as Baal. So on the what we would call the agreeable side, you have the Dingir, who are the Seraphim, And on the disagreeable side, you have the cherubim, which is the ikiki. And Marduk, being son of Enki, is referred to in the Bible a lot of the time as Al-Rab, or the Rabboni, master. And then on the right hand side, where you have Enlil on the page that I'm looking at, you have Nana, who is also known by Nana Sin, and in the Bible he's referred to as El Shaddai or El Shaddai. Okay, and this book shows this symbol called a farm, because many of these names and titles were shared. So you'll have different people using the title, say Yahweh, or you know, any other titles I've mentioned. Other people, or more than one person, will share that title. Now, Parnabab, he is Parnabab, or Dr. Malachi Z. York, the name that most people are familiar with him with, is made up of, or should we say, there are a number of beings that speak through him, namely Yanun from Risk, Zahuti from Orion and Sirius, who's the son of Re Tat and Re, and then you have Ningish Zida from Nibiru, who's the son of Hisat and Enki. And obviously Dr. Malachi Kobina York Okran was born on the planet Plan ET Sector 24, and he's the son of Mary Abba Okran and Al-Hadi Abdul Rahman Al-Mahdi. So the introduction I wanted to read here says, I, meaning Dr. Malachi Z. York, I incarnate, or more appropriately, Yanun, I incarnate from time to time. I am a deity in the person, a jasad, flesh and the man blood, mortal, to set the whole record straight. I enter a jasad flesh person for as long as it takes, then rise back up to Sirius and Orion, on to Risk in Ilion. And I am called while in the flesh, in the jasad flesh, and Avatara, or Emmanuel. You know, in the Bible they say the word Emmanuel means God with us. So him incarnating here is God with us, and also referred to as an Avatara. That's also referred to in Arabic as an Ilah Muta Jasad, or Jasid. He says, I've been known by many Ranat At names, titles, and attributes. I am a who, not a what. I have incarnated this time for you to know only Tasu, 9 worthy quests. Shem, do you think we should turn this off? Because it's really...
Yeah, it's the Transformers going.
Yeah, please.
Got the microphone, so.
Yeah, we're just going to have to speak loud without... Oh, yeah, thank you. Sorry, we just had to get rid of a buzzing, humming noise. Oh, we see a question already. Yemi, I'm going to bring you up on stage. I see you have your hand up on Clubhouse. It's got a... Is it quick? Go ahead, Yomi. Yomi? Okay, we brought Yomi on stage. He had his hand up. But I don't want to digress too far until I kind of cover the section of the class, and then we can kind of go into Q&A and question and answers. Okay, so he says, I've been known by many names, titles and attributes. I am a who, not a what. I have incarnated this time for you to know only 9 tasu, 9 worthy quests. 1, what? 2, where? 3, when? 4, why? 5, how? 6, who? 7, proof. 8 confirm, and 9 reveal. And it says, why believe what you can't prove when you can prove what is true? Let me say that again. Why believe what you can't prove when you can prove what is true? Let someone in. The 9 set the record of fate and replaced this fiction of faith, belief, hope, desire, and wish. In the beginning, nothing preceded. In the middle, nothing stays. In the end, nothing is after. It is not about what you accept or what you become. It was and always will be who you are. With our doctrine, sometimes you have to really let it resonate and let it simmer, because some of these are quite profound. Okay, so that was from the proof. I'm gonna read another little excerpt from the Proverbs of Yanun, which is this scroll here. It says, I, Parnabad Yanun, the etheric part of Malachi Kabuna Okran York, as was Al-Qadir, the etheric part of Isa Al-Hadi Al-Mahdi. We entered his body Tuesday, June the 26th, 1945 AD, to instruct you from 1970 AD, the opening of the seated truths, and 2000 AD, breaking of the spell of ignorance. Al-Qadir yielded way for myself as he left you all with the holy tablets. For those who are not familiar with the holy tablets, we're referring to this here. You can see mine's quite well used. But this was the holy tablets, which is a scripture that was revealed to the master teacher around, I think it was 95, 96? 96. Okay. I leave you, sorry, where was that? Al-Qadir yielded way for myself as he left you all with the holy tablets, which concluded all what religion and all the religious scriptures were trying to convey, but were not able to, or they didn't convey in the way that the holy tablets did. And those of you who are familiar with the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad prophesied of this book called the Book of Lambs coming, and that was the holy tablets. And when you look at the holy tablets, every chapter started and began with the word Lo, which is a L, and the lamb in Arabic is that L, like, and if you see the picture where he's holding the scepter, because the scepter is something that symbolizes authority, and it was passed down from generation to generation. So this is why you see, like, you know, in the biblical accounts, Moses is carrying that, what they call a staff. But yeah, this holy tablets was the book that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad of the Nation of Islam prophesied, and he said whoever came with that book, the congregation should move to and follow. Okay, and he says, I will leave you with the keys to unlock the next 24,000 Shamut years, the hereafter, the end of the last cycle of 24,000 Shamut at years, ending in the year 2000 AD of the year 4000 BC, or 6,000 Shamut at years, the last quarter of the 24,000 year cycle. And now the Wakut time has come. Blessed be this Zamut day and this Wakut time, as well as the Makan place, and all of you Musbatu, Sabians, Nuwapians, You secret your secret Ba'ul souls and the Ka'ul spirits, as well as their Khatat bodies, turning you all, my beloved children of Wu-Sabat. I say this as Parnabab Yanun. The winds bids me to depart from this Madrar realm soon. I am not the Rawuk wind, yet like it, I must move on. We Muzraku, ones who provide, ever seeking the needs, begin to replace where we have ended it, and the same as we met it. We, like the evergreen tree, live on. Not only enough was my time, Wakut, with you all in this skin suit, yet and still my Madat words are needed to completely heal you all, both physically and mentally, to break the Hajar spell. Yet the needed pill was to you as sound, Misbatia Sabaik. Misbatia Sabaik is the cure. Yet if my voice fades in your Abab heart, and my divine love vanishes in your Zakari memories, that is a relapse. Speak by your Shafatui lips, your Lasan tongue, your vocal cords, Akal mind, and Abab heart, and you will be cured by it. I will ever return to you ever and ever, as my death will hide my khatat body from you. Each madat word spoken raises me among you all, if remembered by you, each of you. I am with you in each image of me. I am physically with you when you read or recite my madat words, given to you as in this Mimshal proverb. I am with you. Yet before I depart, you must have the right knowledge, the right wisdom, the right understanding that gives you the right overstanding, which leads to sound right reasonings, breaking the Hajar Shalel Gahalan spell of ignorance. Many of our Salah race have come making many claims, teaching things in one way or the other, still related to and from the English translations, mistranslations of the Bible and the Quran, before Isa al-Hadi al-Mahdi and Malachi Kubina Okran came with his affirmation. They meant well, and some did great works, yet their followers remain mu'abadu, slaves of a mental death. Still, in some way, shape, or kind, believe in the religions of Moshe, Moses, Musa. This work, I, Parnabab Yanun, call Parmimshal at the Proverbs, will heal you if you will read with an open Akal mind and Abab heart. Don't believe me, check it out. Alright, so I set that to then go into this topic of collective global conspiracy to keep blacks back. Please share the room, everyone on Clubhouse. We have quite a number of you on Clubhouse. If everyone shares it to at least one person, that will increase the numbers. Zoom, please share the links. Welcome to everyone on TikTok and on live on YouTube. Rahubat, as we say, greetings, Muesar, family, or those who are sticky as family, because family is Yasar. Okay, Petty, Rahubat Zamal, he says, that's the problem with the religious mind blindly believing. Exactly. So, yeah, so collective global conspiracy to keep blacks back. Anyone want to kind of, what do you feel when you hear that title? I like interactive. I like
Conspire. They conspired against us.
All right. Anyone else? Sia?
I just think it's a very elaborate system that's been put in place. It's a commitment, a project. I'm sure we've all heard the CIA project to quote unquote stop the rise of the Black Messiah.
Yep, that's that Intel Pro, yep, to
Yeah.
stop the rise of the Black Messiah. And anyone on Clubhouse, on Zoom, like over the years, again, whenever we start to talk about the issues dealing with us as a race or black people, it's like people get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it starts becoming racism, you're trying to be racist. No. When you look at the fact that in every endeavor in society, if you want to talk about sports, music, many fields, if you look at them, blacks are always excelling, right? So, how comes when it comes to the important things, when I say the important things, I'm saying like if you look at all the people that have a voice on these different platforms, whether it's on YouTube, the media, mass media, we don't get a look in, really. So we're encouraged to be known for music, entertainment, known for sports, but we're not really. We're not like if you go on YouTube and you listen to or watch any podcast, go to any store, stand in front of all the magazines that are published, see how many black faces you see on the front covers. So it's obvious that there is a conspiracy to hold blacks back. But the question is why? And you hear people, even like the channel Gaia, who blatantly, pirate the master teacher's stuff that he's been teaching for years. You don't really, they say things like, or they call themselves experts and scientists and the we and the us. Words like, they say things like the ancient cultures, but they never really go into detail and mention who are these ancient cultures that you're talking about. Why don't we, I'm going to show you a little video quickly just to emphasize the point I'm trying to draw home, which is that we are very, very smart, very talented, but for some reason when it comes to dealing with, apart from Partner Babylon, let me ask you guys, anyone, YouTube, wherever you are, who would you say is the smartest person on the planet? Let's leave Partner Babylon out of it for a minute. Who do you know to be the smartest person on the planet? Or who have you come across or known to be the smartest person on the planet?
That
Rahubat.
will be you second.
You're funny. It's good to laugh, so that's interesting. I'm a student teacher, I'm a humble student.
I think.
No, on a serious note, like growing up in school, in college, university, at work, in life, who have you...
Whatever school that you're in at the time, the highest person on the level of that school is who you consider to be the smartest person. When you exceed the level of knowledge, then you go another level and then that person becomes smart. It's a moving variable.
Okay, maybe I need to rephrase the question then. Who are some of the smartest people that you've been taught or like that you've heard about?
Stephen Hawking.
There you go, Stephen Hawking, there's one.
Einstein.
Einstein, there you go.
He couldn't walk. So he couldn't be smart.
Right, so we've got two people, Stephen Hawking
Yeah, so
and Einstein.
Einstein. But Einstein smoked, so he could be smart. So
Well, he's still known as,
It was opium.
you know about the cancer.
relativity, the science of relativity, and for evolution.
Pythagoras.
Okay, who's Pythagoras?
He done Pythagoras theorem. All these people that made.
Yeah, but who is he? Who is he?
He was wasn't he a scientist or a mathematician or?
Okay.
Or was he a lodge man? I don't know.
Okay. We're guessing. We'll come back to
all
it.
right.
I see Petty and Yomi, you guys on stage on Clubhouse. Would you like to contribute?
Hello, can you hear me?
Tua, rattle back, Yomi, you can hear you loud and clear. Yeah, go ahead.
Me personally, from my experiences, what I've learned.
Your line is a bit choppy. I don't know if we can try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I was just saying, apart from about good as smart as black people that I've studied, people like Malcolm X and
You're still breaking out, but I've heard Malcolm X, yeah? Mm-hmm.
Johnson.
Who did you say? Uma Johnson?
Johnson, yes.
Okay, all right. Is that it?
That's Sophia Stewart.
Someone said Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, okay, yeah. That's on YouTube there.
Someone said Hitler.
Hitler,
And someone said Hoover.
okay, yeah.
Who's Hoover?
Yeah, go on.
J. Edgar Hoover.
Yeah. He's locked up, isn't he, as well?
J. Hoover.
Yeah.
Isn't he locked up?
No, J. Hoover was a.
Oh, sorry, isn't that
Was the
Intel CIA guy? Yeah. So I was thinking of someone else. There's a black guy that I was thinking of. Well, yeah. So
What constitutes smart?
sorry.
What constitutes smart? Is it money? Because if it was money, then the smartest person in the money field or in but what is it which one, what area are we looking at? Because smart is just all over the place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's what we're saying. Some of the examples that have been given, like Einstein, and we heard a few names, like they've done, like their brain are supposed to be very smart. I'm trying to find, in fact, that video that... Intellect, yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to find that video that you actually sent me as well. If I could just...
Do you want me to send it? Let me
No,
see if I could
I've got it. It's just it's not loading up. I'm just trying to load it up because.
Oh, the little bit out.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. That's what I wanna share. If I can just find it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna play a little video to show you. We're actually leading up to something. Here we go. We're leading up to something. So our sister Zamaltat Claudia sent me this video. Where is it? I just saw it. Okay, there you go. Right. This video's, I'm just letting some people in on. Right, this video is it's on YouTube. It's quite short, but it's going to. Hope they're not going to come with an advert, YouTube.
Most people have no
As I
clue
said,
in 2020.
Just gonna. Okay, here we go. Right, this.
A Nigerian student who won a global maths tournament, beating China, United Kingdom, the USA, and others, has cemented her place in history. Here's how she did it.
Hey, welcome back to The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Now, that story about the Nigerian mathematical genius I told you about. A 15-year-old Nigerian, Faith Odunsi, has won the Global Open Mathematics Tournament, defeating participants from Europe, America, Asia, Australia, and other African countries. She is an SS3 student of the Ambassador School in Ota, Ogun State. She won the competition with a margin of 30 points at the finals, with the first runner-up scoring 10 points. That means she got 40 points. She says her school's extra classes helped her prepare for the competition. Let's now take a look at Ms. Adusi as she answers about 19 questions in a minute.
Carbopedia, 60 seconds of fame starts now. What is the
64.
Correct. So multiply 1/3 by
5/6.
Correct. What is or are the prime
2.
factors? Correct. The cost of price of a gas cylinder is 8,000.
24,000.
Correct. What is the
28.
Correct. What is the sum of the prime numbers between 1 and 5?
10.
Correct. Convert 70% to
7/10.
Correct. Express 0.00.
2.4 times 10 by minus 5.
Correct. Convert
0.8.
Correct. Approximate 5 to
530.
Correct. Simplify terms by minus 4.
0.00001.
Incorrect. What is the square root of the product of 4 and 9?
6.
Correct. How many hours are there from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the same day?
6.
Correct. Simplify minus 17 plus minus 8 plus minus 10.
Minus 35.
Correct. How many prime numbers is
1.
Correct. Find the value of 60 minus 70 minus 40.
30.
Correct. Find the HCF of 8.
8.
Correct. Evaluate the square root of 6 bracket
6.
plus 2. Correct. Find the product of minus 4 and minus
24.
6. Correct. Evaluate 25 minus 30.
55.
Correct. Wow.
Wow. Just wow.
I could do that.
But you competed against somebody?
You could do that.
So that again?
Was she competing against others?
Yes, she was competing against people around the world, Europe, China, America, and basically everyone around the world.
So she was answering the questions before the guy even finished.
Right.
Is that synapse kicking in?
See, that's a sign that her brain waves are functioning at a high rate when someone is able to do something like that.
Exactly. And this is the point of what I'm saying is like a lot of us are not recognizing our abilities and the potential. And this neuroscience of Wu-Sabat, Wu-Sabat goes in. And when we start to look at what Partner Babylon has come to do and to give us, I mean, if you've listened to any of the recent recordings, the readings, and he's saying he's about to start teaching us, teleportation and levitation and all these kind of things. But just the fact of using your brain, the whole global conspiracy to dumb us down is to stop people from realizing their potential and their capability and ability. And this young girl, this is using mathematics, because mathematics is discrete, it's universal, it's actual facts, it's science. There's no, you can't fake the funk, so to speak. Although you might ask some people, what is 1 + 1? And get the answer 11. But you're laughing, but you hear all kinds of debates. Well, you didn't say 1 add 1, so 1 + 1 is going to be 2 ones next to each other, so it's 11 and not 2. But everyone in this room, if we were taking an exam and we asked what's 1 + 1, you would say 2, right? Greetings, brothers. Right back. Yeah. So the question is, a lot of us are wasting our time. We're using very little of our brains, and we spend time dumbing out. Well, we're dumbed down by the mainstream so-called scientists, because when you're in school, I can probably put money on it that a lot of us here didn't like maths. Did you like maths at school?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you just missed a little clip up there. So you're a mathematician?
I wouldn't say I'm a mathematician, but I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it? Right. That's very interesting. In fact,
I do too.
You do too.
I did it at. I did 1 year of Bachelor of Science maths.
Okay.
So maths is a language, and it uses the operators or the signs. And once you apply those signs, you can't lie. So if you see something with an equal, it must stand in truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
Can you play again?
I'm just about to do that.
Before you play it,
Yeah.
one question is that you know the synapse.
Yeah, I've got the neuroscience of Wu-Sabat right here, just about to. Yeah, but
I'm
yeah.
saying in terms of that capability,
Yeah.
does that mean that you're the fight on the
You're gonna have to
highest
speak a bit louder because we're not using the mic today.
scale? Okay, does that mean
Yeah.
the neurons and the synapses are fighting on a higher scale than normal? Because
Right.
the actual, what's it called, Caucasians neurons or synapses got to 13. To the age 13 is a stopgap for them.
Yeah. To answer your
Yeah,
question,
cool,
your sign. We're gonna go into that.
Okay, cool.
What's neurogenesis? Anyone?
Is it a start of numbers? Does it mean a start of numbers?
Beginning of the brain.
It's not. We say that again, Zamata?
Well, it sounds like it's something to do with the brain and the beginning, or genetic.
Right. Okay, we're guessing, but you're close because neuro deals with neurons, neurogenesis. So your brain is constantly releasing cells, right? And like how you will have a baby, if you think of how a baby is conceived, you'll start off with an embryo, and then that embryo will develop into a fetus and so on. So your cells start off, you can basically reproduce, and the cell will start and then grow into, I'll read it actually from the neuroscience, but before I do, let me just play that for the benefit of you two brothers, the mathematicians and sisters.
In a minute.
Here we go.
Probability 60 seconds starts
60
now.
seconds.
What is the square?
64.
Correct. So multiply 1/3 by 5.
5/6.
Correct. What is or are the prime
2.
factors? Correct. The cost of price of a gas cylinder is 8,000.
24,000.
Correct. What is the sum?
28.
Correct. What is the sum of the prime numbers between 1 and 5?
10.
Correct. Convert 70% to
7/10.
Correct. Express 0.00.
2.4 times 10 is by minus 5.
Correct. Convert
0.8.
Correct. Approximate 5 to 5.
530.
Correct. Simplify terms by minus 4.
0.00001.
Incorrect. What is the square root of the product of 4 and 9?
6.
Correct. How many hours are there from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the same day?
6.
Correct. Simplify minus 17 plus minus 8 plus minus 10.
Minus 35.
Correct. How many prime numbers?
1.
Correct. Find the value of 60 minus 70 minus 40.
30.
Correct. Find the HCF of 8.
8.
Correct. Evaluate the square root of 6 bracket
6.
plus 2. Correct. Find the product of minus 4 and minus
24.
6. Correct. Evaluate 25 minus 30.
55.
Correct. Wow.
Wow.
Right, so you can do that, yeah?
How's she answering the
Question before that, I knew you were going to ask that.
Did she have like paper in front of her? Or?
Nah.
How's she answering it before you?
Have you not watched any of these game shows where they're reading the question and before they get to the end, they answer the question?
The answer.
I mean, yeah.
Can I just say that the questions were coming up, so she could read the questions.
Yeah, they were coming up. Yeah.
Presenter was present, so she was answering. That's how she was able to answer them so quickly.
Right. Yeah. But the thing is, the master teacher Partner Babianun put out a book called Dr. York versus the Computer years ago. And yeah, and it's showing you our abilities, but most of us, we get dumbed down from school. Like I was saying, you don't really get pushed in your talents or what you're good at. Most of us don't even recognize or realize what our talents are, because you're either pushed into sports and you get scholarships and stuff, or you're pushed into entertainment, and you don't really know what is your real potential in anything until, and sometimes the way the system is set up, you end up, even if you even make it through school, you know what I mean, because you get into trouble and they make sure that you kind of end up being put into the cycle of going to jail. A lot of us start taking bad food, smoking weed and stuff like that. So we don't really know our potential. And in this scroll called The Neuroscience of Wu-Sabat, the master teacher, Partner Babianun, I'm going to read an excerpt and then go into what I was saying about neurogenesis. He says, for you all my children of the omniverse, of the Kathir Makwan at multiverses of the Thalu triverses, Thalu Makwan at triverses of the Athu Makwanat dual verses of this Wahu Makwan universe, the universal reality, Nuapians. This is what gives the universe of nature, life, form, breath, cells, atoms, and order. It is, in fact, universal ether, Fatir Yal natural ether, unity with the rules, and Dawar at Shalil Wajud Nan at cycles of experience. Universal ether is in the blood, inside the bone. The Haya life is in the blood as the Naha Marau in the bone that reproduces new fresh blood to feed your life body. It takes 6 to 9 weeks to replenish your damam blood by way of the marrow inside the bone. Zazas Tatu women are like the bone marrow that replenishes the blood inside the body, which the life is born, and it takes 6 to 9 months. Man is like the damam blood that is grown inside the bone that is grown inside the womb, and that being the katat body or bone. So they, Lamud, teach biblically that women are from the rib, matur, bone. The Sumerians gave the Chaldeans the Bible, who gave the Arabs their Quran, and Eve or Hawa was called Ava or Titi. And it goes on, from Ava came Eve or Hawa, Hebrew Strong's number 2332. And Hawa means life. And Titi is T, rib. And Titi is seed. So you see from where the Hebrew Bible says Eve was mother of living, Genesis 3:20. And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Woman is the mathor bone, and man is the blood inside. And the Sumerians called her Tamat, consort, or Adamu, of the blood. Dam, Damam, blood. Abreth, or life, Adam, life blood. Earthling, earth seed. Dam, blood red, ruddy. There are many Adams, Edom, all the same root letters, or in Arabic, dam, and means earth beings, ruddy red, roses, pink, blood. No matter whom, they all have physical dama'at brains. Like the Chabad liver, the brain, this is what I was going into, the brain can create new neural pathways. The process of neurogenesis is the ability of the brain to grow new neurons. Neurons are electrically excitable cells that processes and transmits information by electrical and chemical signal. The brain is constantly undergoing its own stem cell therapy through the process of neurogenesis. So every moment of your life, new neurons are growing from stem cells. Human beings indeed have the ability to grow new brain neurons. All organs cannot regenerate. The brain acts like a holographic computer charged battery with many sakafat cells grouped, and your memory is stored in a higher drive called mental. So, let people in. A basic computer system, because it's just explained that your brain acts like a holographic computer charged battery. A basic computer system has input, and then you have, this is a very simplistic diagram. You have input, then you have a processor, and then you have output. Then you will have memory, which can be 3 types of memory. You have ROM, read-only memory, RAM, random access memory, then you have your HDD, or your hard disk drive, where you store your information. So what you put in gets processed whether you like it or not. You're constantly, through your pores, and everyone around us is constantly shedding and giving out information and receiving information at the same time. And if you're not using your brain and you're not raising your mentality or your consciousness, then you're actually not developing, and that's what Wu-Sabat is here to do. And as much as you can say this to people, they don't do it. You have to read the scrolls. There's no way around you developing. Obviously, not everybody can read. But if you can read, you have to be studying and reading the scrolls constantly. The master didn't put out 1,000 books just for the sake of it. This is to get you to, as you said, intellect, raise your intellect. When you say the word intellect, you're saying intel in the genes, because everything ties into your genetics, yeah, and your DNA. So it's so important not to waste your time. You're on this planet, you're here right now to raise your consciousness, so that, because you have many cycles giving you the opportunity to raise yourself back to a supreme being, so that you don't have to come back here, because this is the lowest vibration, the material plane. Yeah, so what they do, excuse me, when I say they, the people that are trying to, the collective global, when I say collective, because what have black people ever done to anybody on this planet to receive the type of, like you say, like they call it diabolical stratagems that they put they put to just hinder you, stop you from developing into a supreme being, to really become aware of your abilities and what you can do. And if you're coming here every week to class and you're just, it's not just come, it's not like a club. You come, you listen, like you go to a club, listen to music, you go home. You have to be diligently studying. You have to start knowing that you're able to do things that even yourself would be amazed. And so it says, to carry on, the brain acts like a holographic computer charged battery with many cells, sakafat cells, grouped, and your memory is stored in a higher drive called mental. And you retrieve them, or thoughts, from the mental reservoir to your personal mind. And each thought becomes your own, as in mine, M-I-N-E. But the mental reservoir is where you are connected to, just like a computer on a network, where you have an Ethernet and you plug it in, saying that, did you still need the internet? Right, you're plugged into this network, and it's the same way you're plugged into the mental with your etheric cord. It says, like a computer, your link is your etheric cord or code, and can be tapped into and even given a virus called insanity, or as they say, out of your mind. There is an actual mental health pandemic right now that we're in. A lot of people don't realize it. And the master told us many years ago, there was going to come a time where if you're not exercising your mind and using your brain, you will have mental health problems. And you walk around our community and there are lots of people with mental health problems. People don't even realize they've got mental health problems. And that's part of this, the fact that your etheric cord can be given a virus. And you can pick up viruses which affect your mind, and they literally say you're out of your mind. So most people, from a child, from nursery, they're being programmed to be out of their mind, because all the information that they're taught from the nursery rhymes have double meanings. I said at the beginning, you have duality, and you're in the middle and you choose which side you lean to. So, who remembers the nursery rhyme, Mary had a little lamb? Anyone? Can you say it?
Mary had a little lamb, little
Bit louder.
Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb. Something like that.
Whose fleece was white as snow.
Yes, whose fleece was white as snow.
Yeah.
What's that about? What's that little rhyme about?
I was so little, yeah. I couldn't even remember what it was about. All I remember was the song.
Yeah, so as children, why are you're taught to remember these things? Why?
Because
even now we're saying, okay, I'm trying to ask you, what was that about?
Let's say someone was getting angry or they were crying, and the parents or the brother or
Yeah, they'll sing the rhyme.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, but what does the rhyme mean?
The rhyme.
What you just said, Mary had a little lamb, Mary had a little lamb, and his fleece was white as snow. What's the significance? What's that about? Anyone?
I really don't know.
See, and we can go through all those rhymes, and you start to see now that your mind's open. Yeah, what's a fleece?
Fleece is a jacket.
Yeah, it's like when you wear them woolly fleece when you're cold, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a jacket or a coat or your skin suit. So who's Mary? When I say Mary, whose name Mary that
Mother
comes
of
to your
Jesus.
mind? Mother of Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay,
And it's trying to say that she was white.
there you go. That's the programming. Mary had a little lamb, and the lamb would be who?
Jesus.
Jesus, because they always say Jesus is a lamb, isn't it? And his fleece was white as snow. So the lamb's skin was as white as snow, but you wouldn't pick that up because it's programming, and you have to decode that. Any other rhymes anyone can remember?
Free blind mice.
Glad. Do you remember it? How's it go?
Free blind mice. See how they run. Something. Free blind mice.
We can pull it up. But go on, brother.
You see, when you was talking about mental health before, like you said, the comments with virus, right?
Yeah. Because what I'm saying is, people don't realize that their mind is not in your mind is not in your head.
It's like my mind is somewhere. It's like your mind is somewhere else.
Yeah, basically it's called a mental reservoir. Yeah.
Mental reservoir.
Yeah. So you can connect to do that. Could you turn your volume down? Okay. You can connect. So in your head, you have a brain, which is tissue, but it has
brain tissue.
Yeah, but it has electrical signals that are traveling between. You have things called like synapses, yeah, and between them, you have neurons that are communicating, and everything you do, your whole body. Actually, I'm going to put up a slide. Your whole body has electricity running through it, but it's not about the electricity. The electricity provides what we call a frequency. So the vibration or the frequencies between that is being traveled between the synapses. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So when you're thinking, you're receiving information or outformation because it comes outside of your brain, outside of your head.
Yeah.
But you're connected to it etherically, because ether, as I will show you, 9 ether is the highest level in terms of vibration. So thoughts are actually entities, they're things. They travel, they have a sound, they have a color, they have weight, and they can affect you. So you might be just walking down the road, but you're picking up lots of thoughts.
Yeah.
And you're picking up lots of frequencies, whether it's electricity, whether it's the 3G, 4G, 5G networks, and you can connect to this mental reservoir and receive information. So if you want to tap into the highest form, in fact, let me show you on this diagram. We'll make it, because I know visually.
I can feel scared when I can't.
You're scared, feeling scared?
Yeah.
Why are you feeling scared?
Nah, because Nah, it's a long story, isn't it?
I mean, you don't have to go into
too
your personal stuff,
Yeah.
but mental health is a very serious issue at the moment. And since COVID took place, because these are the things they did. Part of the COVID and everyone being locked up in their houses for so long because they were planning and putting together, you know, setting up all like the 5G networks, and these networks are now able to, the amount of information that can go down these networks. So when you're dealing with a network, you're dealing with bandwidth, yeah? The amount of information that can be sent down a particular pathway. So like in your brain, you have these pathways, yeah, where information can be sent down. And the more, it's like, let me make it simple, because I know sometimes it can be quite technical. If you were driving a car, yeah, and you were on a motorway, or Americans say highway, you can have, let's say you had 2 lanes. Like here, like most roads, you have 2 lanes, right? One lane is going that direction, and the other lane is going that direction. So you can only send 1 car at a time going that way, yeah? You can send like maybe a number of cars behind each other. Right. Now, think of a motorway where you've got, on one side, you can have 4 lanes, or even 6 lanes. So now you're sending 6 cars going at the same time, so you're sending more information down that path. This is the same way how computers work, where you have a bus, and information is sent down the bus through the transistors. And all of this is because we're in a time zone now called the information age. Because you're getting so much information coming at you that you have to be able to process it all. So if you're not mentally sound, you're going to get so much information that a lot of young people, they find it challenging. And during COVID, where people were, they've never had to be still or just kind of like in their houses and having to deal with themselves. You know, because now you have to think. It's like if you were locked up in jail, when you go to jail, and you're locked up in a cell. Like if you've never been still, and now you just got nothing but time in your hands, you start to think. And thinking is a lower form of reasoning, yeah? So you find that your mind will automatically start to receive or pull information that you may not even have realized, and this is because your DNA is triggered once you're receiving this information, because it's coming from outside in, and they try to block you receiving these frequencies, but because your DNA has been programmed to go off at a particular time, when you hear certain tones, sounds, vibrations and frequencies, it will automatically go off. Like when you heard the master teacher's voice or you read a book, it starts to recalibrate your DNA and then opens you up. I hear this one I'm trying to find. It opens you up. This slide I'm sharing explains in a nutshell a lot of information that I'm trying to convey. If you're not on Zoom, you're not going to be able to see the slide. But this slide is very important. I put it together because, as you can see on this side, you've got 9 levels, right? So we start from 1, go up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 9. And then on this column, that refers to ether. So you have ether 1, ether 2, ether 3, ether 4, ether 5, ether 6, 7, ether 8, ether 9. Now, so the lowest vibration is ether 1 going up, right? And the fastest is going to be ether 9. Now, if we were going along here to the right hand side, you can see I've put a few of what they call elements. So the elements go to the right, and then you have the ether going to the left. Yeah, according to my diagram anyway. So the elements will be hydrogen, H1, going to the right, H2, or the third one, lithium, beryllium, and it goes on carbon at 6, nitrogen 7, oxygen 8, going this direction.
Yeah.
And on the lowest vibrations, you deal with your lowest senses. So where I've got the column called senses, right? You've been taught about what they tell you have is 5 senses, right? Which is really 1. So touch, taste, smell, see, and hear. That's all dealing with awareness or perception. But then you have your higher senses, which are psychometry, intuition, telepathy, and clairvoyance. These are the sorts of things that the master is trying to raise us to start to do. And most of us who've been reading and following for so many years can do these quite naturally now. Go ahead, brother, you got a question.
What is number 6 and number 9?
What's number 6?
Clairvoyance and physical.
So I can't hear you.
Psychometry.
Psychometry.
Yeah.
What's psychometry?
Yeah.
Psychometry is the ability to get information from something by just touching it. Like, for example, the best example I can give you from my experience is like when you ever watch like movies where they're trying to solve a murder crime.
Yeah.
And they normally get like a medium or someone who knows, like they will take them to say the crime scene, and they might find like a glove or a piece of cloth or something that was left behind. Let's say the murderer might have used it and then dropped it or something.
Oh yeah.
The person with the ability, psychometry ability, can touch that cloth, and they will see images and pick up information about what took place, and then they will let like the police or the investigators know. That's dealing with psychometry. Yeah. Intuition is knowing something without. It's just like you just know it intuitively. Like you just know something. Like you can just know that. For example, if I went upstairs now, I'm going to see someone, and you just know somehow. You don't know how you know, but it's intuition. And women are very good with intuition. Yeah. Telepathy is literally the ability to communicate mind to mind without having to use any words. And you can practice these things. You know, like you guys should have some games, like put something in front of you and have somebody on that side and somebody on this side, and write something down, and tell the other person to read your mind and tell you what you've written down. But these are like the higher senses. So going back to this thing about I'm saying about being dumbed down and being controlled through the conspiracy. If you look at beings, again, you can see that you have the supreme being will be the highest at 9. Then you come down to being, then human, to man, to mankind, mammal, beast, demon, and you can keep going lower to the ghouls. And because what I'm saying, people will use word like mankind as if it pertains to everyone, but you can hear the word a kind of a man. That's what mankind is.
Right.
Yeah, and to be a supreme being is not the same as being a beast or being a demon. So these are the levels where, if we look at the physical one, which is the lowest one, right, at 1, you're dealing with physical, material, time, you know, like time exists here, matter, temperature, and your skin suit is what kind of determines these things.
Yeah.
Because you need a skin suit for locomotion, like to be able to move here on this planet, you need this skin suit. That's all it is, it's a skin suit. Yeah. Meaning that on higher vibrations, you don't need the skin suit.
Okay, so you can like use it without the skin suit if you're.
Yeah, you can still exist. So on the spiritual, which is the one up, right? That's what we call your vital being, your spirit being, your personality. This is where food and air and water and these types of things you utilize, because, like for example, if you took an apple in the physical, you can see the physical green apple, but you can't see the nutrition. So like when you eat the apple gives you something. It gives you nutrition, and that nutrition will be in that spiritual abode. Then above that you have a soul, or the astral, or the connection to the oversoul. This deals with your emotional, the emotional you. You have an aura, as you can see on this diagram. The light you, a haven, the etheric atoms, and then the mental is the fourth one. This is what we're talking about here, the mental reservoir. On the mental plane, your mind is what you use. So that's how you can rise from the mental plane to go to the higher planes. Yeah. So this is why the reading and the practices of Wu-Sabat is necessary to raise your mentality or your intellect.
Yeah.
But if you've been mixed, as in the 6 ether beings, the Adamites, they can't go past 6. The reason why is because they've been mixed with animals.
Okay.
Yeah. So unless they mix with a 9 ether or Nagaru, then they can utilize that being to go higher. So all of this is important in terms of who you are as a being. Yeah. So they can't move past 6 because they've been mixed with the porcine, the canine, and simile. Yeah. So that, I hope that's answered your question. Yeah. But there are different realms or abodes that you go to once you've elevated yourself, and you can do that if you practice. So when you're dealing with a fourth abode, you have a number of qualities of the mind, which are memory, yeah, desire, will, curiosity, consciousness or conscious, creativity, intuition, as we mentioned before, emotion, and sound right reasoning being the highest, which is number 9. Now, the 6 ether, yeah, who have lost their souls, they can only access the 6 abodes, which deals with the ghosts. So people see apparitions and that they deal with ghouls, spirits, orbs, shadows, and as I said, apparitions. You know, so this level of ether is very, very important. Yeah. So did that answer your question?
Yeah.
If we say anything and it's not clear or whatever, you know, you have to probe and ask, keep asking questions, so that you know, you get it crystal clear.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
No. Go.
So going back to everyone's so quiet. What's going on out there? Is there any questions?
There's loads.
There's loads. All right. I'm gonna soon I'm just gonna go through. Who was that?
Lucia, it's the lullaby.
Oh, Robert, Lucia.
So the lullaby, isn't it? All the singing that you've been doing, lulling them to sleep.
I hope not. Yeah, I'm just going to finish off these 2 slides and then we can go into Q&A because we want to get as many questions in as possible. Yeah, so when we're dealing with, when you watch things now in terms of this whole, what we call a conspiracy, this conspiracy to keep us back. I mean, do people actually, sorry, my slide's gone. Do people actually feel that, what I'm saying though? Like, do you feel like there's a global conspiracy to keep blacks back? Because we can go into the workplace and see who's the CEOs, who's the...
They do it very, what's the word?
You have to speak up.
They do it very cleverly. Like,
yeah, it's subtle.
Subtle, very subtle, really subtle. It's like they give you a job, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Let you in.
Mm-hmm.
They see your performance level. As soon as you go for the job you want to go for, yeah, they say, Mr. So-and-so, you're not eligible for this role because you haven't got the experience.
Yeah, so the whole system is designed, even like the whole credit system, right? If you haven't got credit, then you can't get certain loans, you can't get certain housing, you can't get certain properties. Like you say, in the working world, you can only go so far. You're never going to be the Prime Minister or the President, and if you are, even the ones that have been let through, like Obama, he had to be mixed to be allowed in. If you look at Bob Marley, even though you had the Wailers, Peter Tosh and Bonnie Wailer, they weren't as big as Bob Marley was. You look at the Nation of Islam, it's always a light-skinned people. When you look at Khalid Muhammad versus, you know, Farrakhan or any other brothers that are light-skinned, they get pushed through. It's like there's a conspiracy to just hold us back. For what reason? But in natural nature, there's natural hierarchy. And this is where we are today, where Caucasians, Adamites, they're holding back humanity by not allowing blacks to participate fully, at least 50% each. It's like you get the 90% and the 5%. So if we're dealing with using your brain and your mind to achieve things that we need to be on this level now, where the world that is changing and where we're moving to with a dimensional shift and everything, it's all to do with intellect, because we need to start learning more about time traveling and doing things where it requires, because mathematics, it requires brain capacity. Even any technology that you're dealing with, the patents or patents, like the people who own that technology, a lot of the times, if you do the research, is Nagarus or Negroids behind it, but they just don't get the recognition. So what we're basically saying is we're living in a day and time now where for humanity to progress and move to the higher levels, because we have to raise to be like these extraterrestrials, because extraterrestrials are just more advanced than us because they've learned to use more of their brain power. But if we are being held down, being the ones with the 9th ether and the ability to help do certain things, then we're holding down the whole of humanity. And that ties back into racism and these kind of things. And it's like natural hierarchy or natural nature deals with the genetics and the genes, like the HAR1 gene. Do you know what the HAR1 gene is, right?
Human accelerated gene.
Say that louder, please.
Human accelerated gene.
And Ha relates to the son of
Horus. I'm saying Horus.
Asar or Osiris and Ashtar or Isis. So by that, they're even telling you that when they say Jesus is coming, or that they're really talking about a new type of being. We used to say new being. The new being, but really new being is new beings.
Does that tie into the word Noir PN?
Yes, it ties into Noir PN. And so they cannot hold us back anymore, because the day and time we're in, this is why, as you know, I keep talking about Terence Howard, who has deciphered the flower of life. And that's opening up so much that has been hidden, because these guys like Einstein and the people that are recognized to be the most intelligent spent their life trying to decipher that gene and couldn't do it. But it's now being done in this day and time. And as I was saying, if we are to advance as humanity, they have to release Parna Babylon, because I said originally, who's the smartest person? And we know for a fact that he's the smartest person on the planet. And if you have that information, why is it not all over YouTube, on CNN and everywhere? Because if I'm coming to this planet and I'm saying I'm an extraterrestrial and I have all the answers you need about anything, why not go to him and just ask him anything, about anything? How to solve the problems on the planet. Why not? Like right now.
Because he's black.
Like he says, because his freckles are too close. And so we're doing the whole planet and the whole of humanity a disservice and an injustice just because they don't like him because he's black. Now, if that was, like, you got these guys like Elon Musk and all these people that they recognize as being smart, they get pushed forward, but you don't hear about Malachi, and he's been saying this for years, you know, and he's teaching us for us to teach other people. And when you start to recognize your ability, and you start to really develop without what like school, because remember school, the word school comes from the word shul, the Hebrew word shul, which is what?
Hell.
Hell.
Yeah.
So when you go to school, you go there smart, and then they dumb you down. And it's like, if you're a 9 ether being, how can you be taught by a 6 ether being or someone less than you? Because they're never gonna ever.
But like I said, they do in a psych.
I wanted to answer a question.
Go ahead, Samantha.
2 questions. The first one is, these Edomites do not present as like the enemy to your face.
Yeah.
How are we approaching these things? Are we in a war where obviously we got love in our heart, but are we to be taking them down with our intellect and building and busting through all their obstacles? That's one question. The other question is, if the master teacher is incarcerated behind material things, you know, is his communication locked apart from the books? You know, if he's the smartest person in the planet, can he be confined or stopped by the bars?
Okay, the first question, how do we fight it? The war has been fought right now. It's on all levels. It's mental, it's physical, it's spiritual. And this is what I was saying at the beginning, where when you look at even the biblical context of what's going on, they tell you Michael, which is one of the titles to refer to Parnabat Yanun, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels. So just from that statement alone, you will know that you got agreeable, you got disagreeable, or some like to say good and bad. It's not really good and bad, but if they've got crafts, the agreeable got crafts, the disagreeable have crafts. If you're talking about the 144,000, for example, as is mentioned in the book of Revelations, you've got beings that are coming to get 144,000 for food, and you've got beings that are taking 144,000 of pure souls or beings that have elevated to a high level to be taught to come back and help deal with the planet. So the war is being fought. We don't fight with bombs and all of that. As you can see, the Adamites are killing themselves off because of religion. Most of the wars that are going on in the world right now are because of religion, or they're fighting over land or fighting over spiritual artifacts or things. So yeah, the war is being fought. That's why I'm saying that the mental war is even more important, because your mind is the most powerful thing that you have. See, it's got a question. Go ahead, sister.
I see that in a way, because
oh, sorry. Let me finish with her question. Right, let me answer the second question about Parnabat Yanun. Your mind is limitless, so you can't. Your mind cannot be trapped behind bars or walls or yeah. So mentally, no, and even etherically, you transcend any barriers. Because you can do that. Physically, as in your body, your khatat, that is held because that is a physical entity that can be trapped behind bars. But the thing is, what people don't realize is that him being behind bars, as crazy as this may sound, was by choice. It was by design. Because, just like when Nelson Mandela was imprisoned, right? More awareness was brought to South Africa and what apartheid, what was going on, and to Nelson Mandela himself. It's the same way more people are getting to find out and know about Parnabat Yanun since he's been incarcerated. And whilst he was incarcerated, he had time to do nothing but exercise his mind. And as the smartest, sorry?
Who designed it? He designed it himself, or?
It was designed by the 9. He's part of the Council of 9, the Natharu, if if you want to use that term. And you can read all about that in the Revelations to the Sabaeans, right? It was done by design because, as he said, it gave him the opportunity to sit down and perfect our language, dealing with tone, vibrations, and frequency, which is really what it's really about. It's about frequency, because you can affect and do anything once you understand how to harness, manipulate, and transmute and transfer energy. But yeah, he said he was given the time to be in solitude, to write and finish our language, to give us more scrolls. And you notice there have been more books coming out since he's been incarcerated than whilst he was out. So by the time he was incarcerated, there was about 300 to 400 books he had written. Now there's over 1,000. So, but the real purpose of him being inside is a test for us to see how far we have elevated mentally by what he has taught us over the years. And this is why I keep emphasizing the point that we have to be elevating ourselves. I mean, even just us as student teachers, when we teach and the information we put out, the feedback we've got, thanks to OSM Vision and the media, the platform, we get into receive feedback from people from all over the world. And, you know, they're just astounded by the information and the things that we put out. But we are just mere students of the master teacher. And that's why on the video, I always pull up people that are out there in the world, like, you know, your Uma Johnson, your Young Pharaohs, your, who's other people? I always forget when it's time to name these names. Bill Carson, 19 Keys, Brother Polite, the whole conscious community, and they teach information, but they can't take you all the way. They can't take you so far, and it becomes a egotistical thing of, I'm not saying they're doing their works in terms of helping to awaken a lot of people as well, but ultimately, like, we do the same, but we always give the source, we always give reverence back to the master teacher, knowing that, I see the two questions, knowing that this is coming from him. Whereas some people that will talk it, break down anarchy, go on like they are the ones who come up with this, when if you start to look at when did you pop up on the scene and who was teaching before you and who put out information before you came along. So yeah, to kind of finish off on your question, the test is for us to see if we can unite and love each other, which by uniting, this ties into what I was saying about us uniting mentally, globally, because we are connected, and as a computer network, the more you are united mentally, the more powerful you are. This is how the technologies of the future, such as the blockchain, this is how blockchain works, or they're actually called distributed ledger technologies. These technologies are based on the fact that you cannot control it, meaning like before, the systems that existed, the banking system or the network system, were like you had a central server or one gatekeeper that controls everything. And so now you have technologies which work by a peer system, or people are connected to each other over the world. So like the blockchain is a chain that is connected with nodes all over the world, and more nodes keep going onto it. And computing power is strong because you're using the processor from all the nodes on the network, which is bigger than any computer you can ever think of. And each node actually, or each block on the chain, replicates the entire block, you know, the entire blockchain.
Peer-to-peer?
Yeah.
Peer-to-peer or something?
Yeah, peer-to-peer, but it's even more now because it's not just peer-to-peer, but yeah, essentially that's what it is. So what we're basically saying is, we ourselves in the network, and as long as your mind is correct, by reading the scrolls, by applying Wu-Sabat, by applying like the charts, because the charts deal with, as you can see on this slide here, things like learning a language, creativity, music, chanting. These excel something called executive functions. So the word executive means it's high, right? So the high functions of your brain are called the executive functions. And by doing these things, like I said, learning a language, creativity, music, it helps you with that. So it's a very serious thing where it comes to your mind, the mental, raising your intellect. But yeah, Sister Sia, I hope that's answered both your questions, because we've got a couple of questions in the room.
So tap.
Untap up there, up forward. Go ahead, Sia. Was you going to say something?
Yeah, it wasn't a question. It's just to what Zaman Tap just said or asked.
Please project, because we don't have the mic today.
Yeah. I think it starts with understanding who and what we are, because they know us and who and what we are more than we know ourselves.
Yeah.
And also giving them their systems back, because we're so busy trying to be accepted in their systems and their ways of living, that we're not actually understanding we need to build our own and do for self by self.
Right.
Because trying to depend on them for our livelihood, for the way we get paid and everything, is part of the problem.
Yep.
And we have to gain complete independence,
right.
Which is essentially followed by being able to use our own capabilities to in ways that are conducive to our well-being.
Yeah, and this, going back to well-being, this is what I'm saying about your mind, because you get put under so much stress just from the time you're in school to the time you wake up to going to the work. You're constantly kept in a state of stress, and what stress does is it affects the cortisol in your body. You know about this as a personal trainer, and you know when people get a lot of belly fat, that's related to stress. And these are the sort of things that, like, they just literally affect you to a point where it actually impacts you physically as well. So yeah, things like your mental health is important. Your skin, even though you think it's just there to protect you from, you know, the sun and stuff like that, it's actually a boundary, a psychological boundary or physiological boundary that protects your inner being. And so when your skin starts to, when you're really stressed, the first signs you will see is in the skin. Like people come up with, you know what I mean, like bumps, or you know, they start having skin problems. This last slide, I touched on it already before we go into the Q&A. It's dealing with the different revolutions in terms of technology. That, you know, there was like a PC where we, you know, personal computer revolution. Then from that we got the internet revolution, and from the internet revolution it's gone to mobile revolution, because you carry your mobiles around. But now we've moved with mobile, we've moved from 3G, 4G to 5G, meaning like what I was explaining about the motorways, where you're now getting so much information that you can literally record the information of a baby from the minute that baby is born throughout its entire life. You can record that, and because now you have so much bandwidth, and then what you can do, all those memories, all the matrix, all the information can be transported. So there's a show I've got it on here, Altered Carbon on Netflix, which I encourage people to watch, because they're showing you things that we can do, as I said, when you lose your skin suit. So when people die, what people call die, which is really crossing over from one realm or abode to the next, you leave your skin suit behind, but you're not really dead. You can still function, and they show you this in the that series Altered Carbon, how they can take your consciousness and your brain. And I'm saying they didn't have that computing power, but they do now, where they can literally like transport your entire matrix. They used to show you this as fiction in Star Trek when
And Stargate.
yeah, and Stargate
there's a
and
show called Upload.
right, I've seen Upload as well. Exactly, that's another good one that's quite modern to watch. I mean, it gets silly halfway through, but the first part of it and the whole concept of Upload, without spoiling it for everyone, is worth watching. And then we're going to deal with neuroplasticity before. Anyone knows what neuroplasticity is? Is anyone on Clubhouse? Anyone on Clubhouse? Neuroplasticity?
It's the brain's ability to change, really.
That's someone from Zoom, isn't it? Who was that, please?
Yes, Felicia.
Oh, Felicia, yeah, I see you. Yeah, can you just repeat that?
Just the plasticity, like things can be changeable. So it's the ability for brain and behaviour to change.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Let me read something that kind of ties into that. So, as we were talking about before, when you're dealing with you can't see it, on page 13 of the neuroscience of Wu-Sabat, so it's up on Clubhouse as well, somebody's put it up. It talks about how this is done in your DNA. So I'm going to go from verse 73 on page 12, because as I've got here, neuroplasticity deals with sex and food. These are the two main things that people struggle with. So when I was saying about the food and how you get this belly fat, because when people are stressed or going through certain things, they use food as a comfort, or sometimes people use sex as a comfort. But the 6 ether, the word sex, if you remember what I taught in other classes, you can substitute the E, which is a vowel, with any of the other vowels, and so you can take the E and put I, and that deals with 6, and deals with 6 ether. But it says from 73, it's a protein. So the powers of transformation, dealing with how your neurons let me go back a bit. So new neurons are born well into the 9th decade of life. Yeah? So within your brain there exist a population of neural stem cells that are continually replenished and differentiate into brain neurons. The powers of transformation. It's a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which plays a key role in creating new neurons. It also protects existing neurons, which encourages synapse formation. That is, connecting one neuron to another that is needed for thinking and for learning. Remember, I opened the class with saying a wise person learns, but a fool believes. Right, so for learning, this is done in your DNA. That is, every cell, why they attack the DNA, or the deoxyribonucleic acid, that's what DNA stands for, right? With their Janus, sex forces of lust, first and foremost to weaken the damam, blood flow to the brain. Because when you start to understand, this is why I was emphasizing before that, when you start to understand you as a being, I'm going to just quickly pull up another slide, what you're composed of and what you're made up from. Sorry, sometimes my brain moves faster than my computer. I have to wait for it to catch up. Right, I want to show you, I'll show you this one, because you have to understand your body and all the components that make you who you are, and each one requires a different level of attention. Where is it? Come on.
Can we get these slides after
These slides, $1 million. These slides are part of the book that we've put out, which, but we'll talk about that afterwards. But let me show you. Come on. Oh, I think I've gone the wrong way. I want to pull up this. Yeah, there you go. This one here. Do you like the slide here? Took a lot of this one here. Took a lot of work. But yeah, we can talk about that afterwards. Right, this slide here shows you the different parts of you, chaka, and it's just loading up. Give it one more second. Yeah. So, as you can see here, your body systems are and also networks, right? Move this out of the way. Your body systems and the network. So you have a network of skin, your pores. Then you have your muscular network. You have your organs. You've got the skeletal, the nervous system, and the more, like I mentioned before, the networks that people are familiar with are like the computer networks. But you have networks that are wireless as well, right? So wireless networks, that we're connected now to the internet with no wires. So you've got the mobile network, the internet. All of these networks, when they're all working together and you have different networks working at the same time, it's referred to as heterogeneous, which basically means like you can have a physical network, a wireless network, different types of networks all working together. So carrying on to what I was reading, it says that they use sex, forces of lust first and foremost to weaken your blood flow to the brain, because your brain is where the processing takes place. When I gave the example of how a computer receives input information, processes it, and then puts out output. And your brain receives electrical signals via these synapses through your DNA. So your DNA, you have two strands, and then you have the staircase. Well, we call it a staircase, but this deals with like your ATCG. And these are the codes that they can change or program to have a particular outcome or behavior or effect. So it says, like spirit vampires, they seek to drain your body fluids for this reason. So Nuapians, this is how to harness your brain neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to change structurally and functionally to enhance neural pathways. You remember, it's funny because when you go into science and go into some of these deep stuff, it's like people just fall like they're falling asleep. I know you heard that, but this is what I'm saying about learning to start to use our brain for the higher sciences. And it goes on to say, and what gives this universe of nature, life force, form and growth? 78. Natural ethers in unity with the rules and cycles of nature, our own Tasu Achak, which is 9 ether nature as Negroids. So natural ether is the energy that gives lights and life, soul and movement to this universe and the beings, person and things within it or herein. Yeah, so this is dealing with, that's what neuroplasticity is. Go ahead.
I've just read something on Google.
Yeah.
Saying we've got 86 billion neurons from 100 trillion connections.
Yeah.
So basically, we're not using our full capacity. What I want to ask is, if the human, because obviously the film Lucy released,
yeah,
and obviously everyone watched it, clocked on. But I'm saying the neuroplasticity depends on the actual capacity of the brain.
Yeah.
Chemistry. What is it allowed into? Because basically, you can actually get like thought waves come into your being and say, yes, I'm going to do a watch, let's say, for the first time.
Yeah.
That kind of change into whatever, yeah? But I'm saying, what is the process? Because obviously it comes from your DNA. Your DNA kind of sparks up the energy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to your question.
The question is, are people, because obviously we've been slowed down because you just said the title of the class, which was Keep Us Back. Yeah. But I'm saying the title, obviously, the people who are not in Wu-Sabat, or basically have that kind of side knowledge, because I call it side knowledge because it's not actually, they kind of like step into it, kind of like half.
I'm still waiting for your question. What's the question? Just make it.
The people who are not in Wu-Sabat, are they going to be left behind mentally?
Yeah, this is what's happening, and this is why people are having so much mental health issues.
Yeah.
They're not using and exercising their brain
Brain power.
because the whole system is geared to have you just thinking about food.
Yeah.
Literally, you get up,
Yeah.
you think about what you're gonna eat,
Yeah.
and to keep yourself. Sorry, the computer. If you're depressed, whatever, then you might have a woman, a girlfriend, or a boyfriend, and then that's what we're saying about using sex forces.
Yeah.
So most people are not trying to elevate their mental
Yeah.
because they're dealing with the mundane things of getting up, going to work, getting money to put food in the fridge, to eat.
But then,
It's just a continuous cycle.
but then the side of it is I'm spiritual. So we should say people.
Yeah, but that's what religion is for. Because when people say they're spiritual,
Yeah.
then if you start to probe,
Yeah.
you then have to go into using the mental.
Yeah.
Because you have to ask them questions.
Yeah.
And when you ask them questions,
Yeah.
they get stuck.
Yeah.
Because they can't answer the questions. Because they've been taught to believe.
Yeah.
Just believe this,
Yeah.
but keep doing the rat
mundane
race,
things, yeah.
the mundane things,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be free when you die. And then you're gonna go to heaven,
Yeah.
an unconfirmed place.
Yeah.
So most people are like zombies walking around and literally not developing their being.
Brain dead beings.
Yeah, so Wu-Sabat is the cure. But we have to teach it. And you can't teach it if you're not learning it or studying it. Because really, there should be many teachers out there right now, which they are, but there's still more. You guys could be great teachers or great scientists, great something, but if you don't get that spark to turn you on, this is what it says, like you have to be activated. Because, like, again, I use the school example. I didn't like school. When I was in school, I wasn't in school because I wanted to be there. It was just your parents send you to school, and you're trying to get grades so you can get a job, so you can do the same thing we're talking about. So I wasn't bothered in school. Like we were talking about maths and all that. I was playing around. Most of us, especially the young men, that's why we have to be like mentoring the young people, putting them through the rights, getting them to realize your potential at an early age, because school is not there to help you do that. School is designed for you to become a worker.
What do you say?
A worker, let me finish. A worker like the Lulu Amilu, which is a slave working for the system. Yeah, that's it. You're not really taught to be an entrepreneur, to be your own boss, to be creative, because it's easier to go somewhere that someone has already built everything. They give you a paycheck to keep you on the treadmill. And but now most young people, a lot of people are starting to wake up because of the technology and the internet and the new way of doing things. People can become millionaires, billionaires by being creative and using their talents once they switch on. And so that's what Wu-Sabat is about. Wu-Sabat's not just, it's a progressive thing. It's not we just, you believe in Jesus, believe in Muhammad, believe in a religious concept, and then wait till you die or wait for somebody to come and save you.
Our perception of heaven and hell means that we don't.
Please speak up again.
I said our perception of heaven and hell means we don't actually question the reality that we're in.
Exactly.
Because as you said, we're just told to believe and pray and pray and pray and pray our problems away.
Yeah.
And we're told that heaven is this place that we're getting to, without realizing that hell is what we're actually living in right now.
That's right. And then the promise is for you to get to heaven. It's the only way out, but you have to die first. But Wu-Sabat doesn't teach that. Wu-Sabat teaches you that you are gods and goddesses, and that as long as you can work on the things that hold you back, which are these 9 diseases that I'm pulling up. The 9 diseases are the ego, because sometimes even when we go and when we start teaching people, the programming that they've received over the entire journey of their life makes them fight against Wu-Sabat, because those 6 ether forces are within your cells. You have 24 trillion cells, and as I said, you constantly, through the process of neurogenesis, growing new cells all the time. And in those cells, you can have beings inhabiting you or living in your cells. So when you behave and act in a certain way, it's because there's many reasons, but the information that you're receiving, that you've stored in your mind, because you've been storing information from the beginning of your life, yeah? And that information could be from the TV, the movies, the nursery rhymes, the relationships that you've had, all sorts of things that build a picture in your head. And a lot of people are actually out of their mind. And when you start to talk to them, especially because of religion, you start to pick it apart, and then it makes you think. So these are the 9 diseases. Ego, because to learn and start off as a baby, again, you have to just let go of the ego. My recognition of our abilities came when I started to read Partner Babylon's books. That's when I became interested in being a student and really studying. Not because I wasn't studying because I want to get a job. I was studying because I need to understand this. Who am I? Who are we? And all that. So this is the things you have to eradicate: the ego, pride. Pride is where you can't tell some people anything. You can't correct them. They think they know it all. Jealousy, which is somebody might have something and you don't even know how they got it. You don't even know, like, they might have a nice car or a nice house or whatever, and you just want it and you hate them, or you start to be jealous of them without even knowing how they got it. When you have the same ability, people want it quick, and this can lead to people fighting, stabbing, killing, murdering each other. Anger is another one of these diseases. You hear a lot of people, they get angry, and that anger can come from a lot of the information stored in their cells over the years through traumas. Go ahead, brother, you got your hand up.
Isn't that all leading to the, what's it called? The reptilian mindset.
It's linked to the reptilian brain, because that's a part of us.
Frontal cortex of the brain.
Yeah, which deals with aggression, deals with eating meat. That's what I'm saying. Everything is just designed to a point where it affects you negatively, because you have different natures within you. Excuse me. You have the reptilian nature in you, and you have what we call the Natharu's nature, and you have the animal nature. And if you're feeding the animal and the reptilian nature in you, you're going to behave and act more like an animal and an angry person. Aggression, and these are lower vibrations. Greed is another one. People that want more, even though they've got enough, they've got to have more. Constantly can't, they get, let's say, £100, they want £1,000, they get £1,000, they want 10,000, they get 10,000, they want 100,000, they get 100,000, and it just never stops, because it's just really dealing with greed. And when you look at the people that are running the world, going back to the topic of the class, collective global conspiracy to keep blacks back. These are there's a small group of people at the top of this pyramid that want to control everything. Want to have, control the food, control the money, control everything you do, and to the point where your civil liberties are being eroded all the time, to the point where people get to a point they're like, nah, this is enough, and then you start to get the rebellion, or people like protesting. You've never seen as many strikes with the nurses. Just hit stop. The nurses, the trains, people that are like at the bottom doing like the menial task, just asking for pay rises, because the standard of living and things have got so hard for most people that you've got more food banks now. People can't even get food to eat. And you saw what happened with the COVID, where people were literally fighting each other to get toilet paper. That's the levels that, you know what I mean? And these are the things that are coming. It's not even a joke. Like, if you rely on Sainsbury's and Tesco's to get your food, what would you do if they say you're not allowed in Sainsbury's and Tesco's from tomorrow?
They will see you banned.
Yeah, I'm saying, say they banned you from going to buy food from these, I mean, in America they got
Charger.
That's alright, don't worry.
Obviously, if they go in like Tesco's or Sainsbury's and they will do a search stupid, and the security was seeing that, and the other day they try to come back in there tomorrow, and the security is there, they're like, no, you can't come back in.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you're gonna have chaos. People will fight to eat, and then they obviously will bring in the police and the army and the martial law, and then you go to the camps. You see, so what I'm saying is these things are not far off, they're coming. And we as a people have to basically be prepared and ready. Not trying to scare people, like, none of that. But if you just look at what's going on in the world right now, with, you know, the wars and everything, this is a reality that, you know what I mean, we have to face and be ready and prepared for. Do you want to say that? Okay.
Question.
Who's that?
Sia.
Oh, go ahead.
Is this the reason why we are setting up in different provinces or SIPATs, known as Papara, etc., so that people in different communities can band together because of what's taking place?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This what we're saying. That the master teacher, Prana Babyanun, Dr. Malachi Zio, told us that when things get to a point where it's chaos and out of control, if you're not with a group or a community, you're going to be easy pickings, because communities and tribes are what we're used to. We're not individualists. We've never really been that. But when we're listening and following these globalists and the people that are collectively working together to control the world, this is what it comes down to. They can't really control the masses. So what they have to do is create individuals, because they can control individuals. You see it? Because when a lot of people say, no, we're not having it, it's harder, because, you know what I mean, there's only a small group at the top that are running the world.
Yeah.
You know, the Bilderbergers, the Rothschilds, and, you know, these people that they're so greedy that, but humanity is already raising their intellect. They call it the dimensional shift, they call it the consciousness that's, you know, a lot of people are waking up. But it's the organization of coming together and working together so that you can survive, you know. But yeah, so that's why we as a tribe, we do have different communities all around the world, and coming to these classes is really for you to figure your way into being a part of the community. Because when you're inside, you get different information than when you're outside. We give out a lot of information. We have 1,000 books, but there's certain information that's only shared with those who are worthy of it. Go ahead.
I've got like 20 questions.
My goodness. Okay, let's get, we might as well go into the questions, because it's not, 9 o'clock. All right, let's get into the questions.
60 seconds each answer.
Yeah. I'm going to go quick. Let's
It
run
says,
through it.
why haven't the Anunnaki showed themselves directly to us?
They have. The thing is, as I keep explaining to people, it's the meaning of Anunnaki that people are mixing up. Anunnaki is a description of an incident, not of people or beings. So Anunnaki means those groups of beings that Anu sent to the planet Ki in groups of 50. The reason they were in groups of 50 is because they traveled in crafts, and these crafts could only carry 50 passengers each. So they came down here in groups of 50s, and this comprised of different types of beings. So when they say haven't they shown themselves to us, we are them. We are their children, because like my brother Eric was saying on the video, they use their DNA and their genetics to, everyone on this planet's DNA and genetics comes from the Negroids or the African people, and then hybrids were built from those. So you are looking at the different types of extraterrestrials, like the Greys, that a lot of people have seen the Greys, or the EBEs, which is what they call
extra biological
entities. Thank you. The Pleiadians, most people have seen Pleiadians. The different reptilians, the Draconians, the Teros, the Duanis. There's so many extraterrestrial beings. In fact, yeah, let me pull up, now that you're asking the question, I'll put up the slide.
Whilst you're doing that, can you say, are the Anunnaki the Nephilim?
Some of them are. This is what I'm saying, they've mixed in, because the Nephilims, if you're referring to Genesis 6:4, you have what we call agreeable and disagreeable of all races and all beings. The Nephilims were the disagreeable ones, or the Anakim. They came down and they took, if you read the quote, it says they took beings, which means they raped the women, and then they bore children, and they call them the Gabors, or the mighty ones, the children that were born to them. So you have beings that came and took or raped to produce offspring, and then you have agreeable beings that seeded by way of marrying and having children. So, for example, Enki went to Africa and took wives and had children, whereas you have other beings that they just abduct or they rape and they produce offspring. Yeah. So the word Anunnaki is not giving you the specific species. Each extraterrestrial has many species. So like I gave you like what we're calling the Greys. You have the Ramadians, you have the Maccabians, you have different, and then what it is they keep mixing them by mixing their genetics with other beings. So I've just pulled up on the screen different types of extraterrestrials. So you got the Riskians, which you see Parnababianun, he's one of the Riskians. So yeah, Anunnaki doesn't tell, it's a group of different types of beings that came here. Like how they show you on Star Trek, where they show you Klingons, they show you where's Spock? Spock is, I can't remember, but they show you different beings on the same craft, and they come here and yeah. So keep going. We want to find.
Do you have any bookshops located in Ghana?
We have communities in Ghana. I'm not sure if there's a bookshop, but yeah, actually we have a foundation. There's a foundation, the Malachi Kobina York Foundation in Ghana, where books and certain things are sent to. So yeah, but there are communities in Ghana, so you can always find. But the thing is, you can order our books worldwide, because we do ship online to anywhere in the world. So you can order from most of the bookstores online, or even from us in the shop.co.uk, and we will send it to you. Of course, if it's international, then you have to pay international shipping, but you can get books from anywhere in the world.
Where can I get the Holy Tablet?
The Holy Tablets. The Holy Tablets, which I mentioned before, which is this scroll, is, again, and that's such a good question in the sense that when scrolls come out, when scrolls come out, people don't get them. They just think, I can always get it. And then when they sell out, they're hard to get hold of. The Holy Tablets now, people are selling it online for ridiculous prices.
You don't have to buy it online. You can get it for free online.
I know there is a platform called the Holy Tablets online, but some people want to read it as a physical hard copy. But I'm just saying there are people who will sell their versions, and you can find them on Amazon and all over the place. So it will possibly be revised and updated. But look at this, I brought these for you because just like the Holy Tablet, this is the Torah that Dr. Malachi Z. York has actually translated word for word from the original. This is the Quran, the real one, meaning that there are many copies, but again, he translates word for word from the closest. This is the Coming Forth by Dave, which people call the Book of the Dead. So when we say the Master Teacher, and these are big, hard covered book. This is the Psalms, which people talk about the Psalms, and this is El's Holy Injil, which people mistakenly call the Book of Revelations. But all of these have been translated by one being in the lifetime. And on top of that, you've got the Holy Tablets, you've got all these other scrolls, you've got the Black Book. All right, and look at this. Look how thick this book is. This book is called The Degree of Christism. This one book has everything you would ever need to know about Christianity. This one book here, everything, right? And you also have the degree of Mohammedanism. Yeah? This has everything you ever need to know about Islam. This one book. Look how big and thick that is.
So we have a package bundle of those books you can buy.
A package bundle. They're never available. And then you have this scroll, the Holy Quran Circle 7, which is the scripture that the Moorish Science Temple were using. But he did this to set the record straight, to assemble all the misinformation, all the information that was scrambled. And then on top of that, we have our own way, the Par Taruk or the Par Tarak, which again, you see how thick that is. This is just a few books, and these books are very hard to get hold of because when they come out, some people procrastinate. You know, you may not have the finances or whatever, which is fair enough, but when you see the scrolls, get them, because once they sell out, it's very hard to get hold of. But let's keep going. I want to take a...
Can we say that the oldest known blood type is that of the ancestors coming to this planet?
Topaz, Zamatat, just give us a moment. We want to just get through some of the online questions, and then we're going to come back to you, okay? All right, go ahead.
The oldest known blood type is that of the ancestors coming to this planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you calculate the number of the beast in Revelation?
Sorry, what was the question about the blood types?
Is the oldest one our ancestors coming to this planet?
Yeah. The Natharu's blood is going to always be the oldest, and originally it was all positive. So we didn't have negative blood types, but by the mixture of extraterrestrials, you got the RH negative and the O negative and all that. And then because we then mix with them, we now have all those blood types. So originally, yeah, it was all the positive blood type.
How do you calculate the number of the beast in Revelations 13:18?
How do you calculate it? It tells you what it is. It says it's 666, but people then misinterpret that. What does that mean? But the 666 is dealing with, like we talk 6 Ether, dealing with the mark of the beast, which is Visa. When you look at VI in Roman numerals, that's a 6. S is a 6. Yeah, it's known as Sigma, and the A is a 6 as well, because each numerical value has a system called Abjad, and each letter is given a number, and A is 6. So Visa is 666. And the reason is we're talking about visas because you use it to buy or sell. Because when you read the book of Revelations, it talks that if you don't have the mark of the beast, you will not be able to buy or sell. And now everybody carries debit and credit cards. And without that, you can't buy or sell. But they're taking it a step further now, where they're going to get rid of the cards and introduce the chip. You're already carrying the chip, because if you look at your debit and credit card, there's a little chip on it. But the thing is, there's so much problems with credit and debit cards, so they say, because they create something called problem reaction, then they give you the solution. So they say your credit card brings a lot of fraud. You can lose your credit card, someone can steal it. So all this is to say, but you know what? If we put the chip inside of you, you don't need to carry a credit card. And it's already been implemented where people just use their hand and their forehead to... Yeah, but go ahead. I want to get as many questions as we can.
Where do we go exactly when we pass away, and does your zodiac sign mean something about your life journey?
Where you go depends on you in terms of your elevation spiritually, mentally, etc. As I gave you the different abodes already, so you can go all the way to 9 Ether, to the point where you're one with... See, because of English, the closest word is all. So all is in all. So you can become a part of all. But if you can only reach 6 ether, you're going to only reach 6 ether. If you want to reach 8 ether, you can go. Or you come back again and again and again until you elevate to a point where you can go to the higher realms. Let me just stop you quickly because
I just have a question off the back of that. When we transition, should we be buried or cremated?
Cremated at the moment, because being buried means that you're stuck here because your physical body is going to take a longer time to decompose, because what it is they put you in a coffin and then put you on the ground, then put cement on top of you, so that it takes years for you to decompose. And because you're connected to your physical, remember that your blood is in your marrow and the spirit is in the marrow as well. So for you to leave here completely, if you're cremated, your essence kind of leaves. So that helps you to transition quicker. In ancient times, we had all the rituals and, you know what I mean, we had our own environment and our own space where we could actually do certain rituals to send your soul to the right place a lot quicker. So then your organs were taken out, put into the canoptic jars, etc., etc. But because we're not on our own land, in our own environment, with the know-how to perform these ceremonies anymore, the best thing now is to cremate. Go ahead, Zoma.
Does wearing gold attract more energy?
No, yes and no. The thing is, everything that you have physically, you have internally anyway. So our blood has gold within it in terms of what we refer to as the math gazette. People call it the elixir of life because gold is a conductor. So the thing with gold today is a lot of people are not wearing pure gold because there's different carat gold and there's a lot of synthetic gold and things are mixed with gold. So the gold of today is not the same as the gold before. So yes and no, but really you should be trying to turn yourself inside out and purify your being, which already has all the elements on the planet in it. That's a really important question because you see people walk around with like 1,000 crystals and all this stuff because they feel like, and they, you know, I see you, and they feel like it protects them, but it's like you've already got all those elements within you anyway. Yeah, but I want to get as many questions on the line online as possible.
Why are the rich minority building bunkers, and how can the people prepare for whatever it is that the rich minority are preparing to hide from in these bunkers that they are building?
Right. They're building bunkers because nuclear weapon is actually a reality. If you look at what's going on with Ukraine and you look at what's going on with Russia, it's actually getting heated up to the point where we're moving toward nuclear weapons. And if you remember what happened with the other previous wars, watch Einstein and there's another one on Netflix called, I can't remember, but when they dropped the nuclear weapon or the atomic bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima back in the days, people were, I mean, this is also spoken about in the book of Revelations. If you read the book of Revelations, which people look at as the book for the end times, even though it's actually quite old, but it's the Apocrypha, deals with what they call the future. That's what happened where, you know, the people in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, the bomb dropped and killed so many people, but the radiation and all the effects afterwards on the planet, on the vegetation, on the people, took a very long time for people to deal with. And so they're building bunkers because they know that when the war escalates to a point where nuclear weapons are used, people on the planet are going to be faced with this radiation, so they're building bunkers to hide away from it. If you watch movies like The Purge, they show you what happens when the governments lose control and it's just like chaos, and only certain people that have bunkers and have food. This goes back to what I said before about the building communities and coming together, because if you got your bunker by yourself and you've got all your food stored and you think you're safe, watch the zombie apocalypse and watch those movies, because what's going to happen? Everyone's going to find out you got food, and everyone's going to come for your food. And if you're by yourself, you ain't going to survive. So yeah, it's got to be about communities.
How old is the Sphinx, and why is it part human, part animal?
Because the Sphinx was really, all right, when you deal with Egypt, there are many dynasties and different time periods that different people ruled. And the Sphinx actually, it represents the Catholics, because they use that, just like a lot of the Western religions. We say all religions come from ancient Egypt, and what it is, they've superimposed or taken certain aspects of Egypt and brought it over to religion. So when you're saying Catholic, what you're really saying is cat, holistic, or the worship of the cat, and you're saying Catholic. And that's what the Sphinx is a symbol of, because the Greeks and the Romans that were ruling at one point, because they always give you, when they talk about ancient Egypt, they go down a particular path and teach you about Cleopatra and Mark Antony and the Sphinx and all these things, because it deals with when they were occupying that time and space, and it's dealing with the Akir, or which is called the lion, right? Because the lion represents a time period where, when you look at what people call in the horoscopes, it's dealing with the cycles. It's funny, look, I just pulled it up, I didn't even do it on purpose, but there are different cycles that take place. So like we were talking about the 6,000 years moon cycle, 6,000 years sun cycle, 6,000 year moon cycle, 6,000 years sun cycle, that gives you the equinox. What it is there's a needle that goes through the different constellations and points to the different time periods. So Leo would be like pointing to that particular time period, and now we've moved, the needle has moved to what we're calling the Aquarian age. And there's an excellent video on YouTube by Jordan Maxwell that talks about this, but this is coming into this period where Christ consciousness is raising, yeah? And people saying they're waiting for Jesus Christ to come, but it's really talking about this new time period that we're in. But the Sphinx was like when you look at a clock, if you look at it, it's pointing out and it moves through the different constellations. I actually have that on one of the slides on this, but yeah, I hope that answered that question.
What did black indigenous people...
Oh, sorry, the second part of that was, why has it got the two-part body? Because I just had it and then it just went. Yeah, the two natures. So when we talk about Dr. Malachi or Pana Babyanun, he's known as the lamb, and he's also known as the lion. Now, the lion is where, going from the Catholic and to the religious concept, where the Rastafarians picked it up, and they say the Lion of Judah. And when you tie this back to Pana Babyanun, his name, as we were saying before, from being a descendant of the Mahdi, yeah, who's known as the guide. So when we're saying Isa al-Hadi and Mahdi, the Hadi is dealing with the guide, and he is from the tribe of Judah, because in the Bible, when it's talking about Jesus coming back, it says Jesus was sent to the tribe of Judah, because the 12 tribes, there were 13 tribes, but they miss out the female and only deal with the Dan and all that. All those tribes were destroyed except for the tribe of Judah and Dan. And so this represents this being that is coming through the guide, because the Mahdi also represented the loins where this new being was going to come from. They tie it all to Haile Selassie and say he's the conquering lion of Judah and all of that, and it's not really him, it's Pana Babyanun coming from the Mahdi through his father Al-Hadi, and that means the guide. Yeah, but go ahead.
What did black indigenous people worship before they were introduced to the Bible?
Black indigenous people didn't worship anybody. This is the problem that we're saying. These powers that be and the conspiracy, they've got you to start worshipping when you never worship, because All we did, we had knowledge and we respected nature. So we knew what the different parts of nature were, like the sun. So we used to give reverence to the sun and like just giving gratitude, because we knew that the sun brought about the harvesting and the seasons. And what the Hindus did, they started to worship us, and then in turn religion came by way of the Hindus. This is why we can align like Christianity with, when you're saying Christ, you're saying Krish or Krishna. Yeah, become Karast, well, from Karast in ancient Egypt to Krishna to Christian. And that whole concept of worshipping someone else who's coming to save you externally from yourself. When we know that you have a sun inside of you, that you gotta look inwards and tap into that sun, that connects with the outer sun, and then you know you receive affirmation by way of the sun to grow you as a son. Keep going.
Where can I join the community in Ghana?
Where can you join the community in Ghana? You have to, if you send us an email, you can use info@neshat.co.uk. We'll send you the information. I don't have the community's detail in front of me, unless one of the moderators or someone has it, they can post it in the groups. But yeah, contact us, link with us, and we can give you that information.
Are there consequences for the life we live?
Of course. This is where the whole concept of heaven and hell comes in, because you're taught that you have to die before you go through this process called judgment, and then if you're safe, you go to heaven, and if you're not, you go to hell. But the reality is you judge yourself every single day by the actions and the decisions that you make. So this is why if you decide to not prescribe to Wu-Sabat, not study the books, not chant, not read, not take care of your health, then you're really judging yourself. Because when you look at a race, you look at the elders and see what they suffer from, you will know, like for example, there's a part I don't call diagnosis of the races. What you eat affects you. So like if you look at Chinese people, they eat a lot of rice, and black people, a lot of people eat too much rice. So that when you eat too much rice or starch, what that does is starchy foods turn into glucose, and glucose is sugar. So then the sugar affects your limbs, and then you start to get things like arthritis, and you know, you eat too much meat, you have high blood pressure, you eat too much oil. So these are the diets that we're taking that are not that are not good.
Should we only consume fruits and vegetables, or are certain meats okay?
Again, this is there's no one size fits all, because now we have mixed in, we have taken on so many habits. Well, originally you were not supposed to eat flesh or any form of meat, but you've learned to eat it because of generations and generations of mixing. But you know that you're not a natural meat eater, because a natural meat eater will not have to season the food. They wouldn't have to, like if you see a lion in its natural habitat, it will chase down an antelope and it will tear it up and eat it. That's a natural meat eater. You, or people that eat meat, they buy the meat, and then they have to, you know, season it, put salts and peppers and all of that, just so they can eat it. Because you wouldn't eat it if it wasn't seasoned or put salts and peppers and all of that into it. So yeah, when you can also tell by your digestive system, the way your digestive system works, how food takes, how long meat takes to go through your system, the canine teeth you have. These are all traits of meat eaters. And the reason you started to eat meat is because that reptilian brain and the reptilian nature of you fed it meat to a point where now, so the best diet for you is a vegan diet, but you have to wean yourself, because you've been consuming meats and so on for so many years that it's not, you're going to be able to just switch off and switch on. There are two types of diets, seafood and land food. Most people are going to be one or the other, but the master teacher did tell us He's written many books, but we don't follow books on diets anyway. He doesn't really give you, he gives you guidelines, but he did say not to eat anything with parents. So make of that what you will. Don't eat anything that has parents. But a lot of us are still, that's one of the things where, you know, we find difficult to get over, because, you know, we've been trained to eat to feed our reptilian nature and for taste as opposed to for nutrition.
This was about the afterlife one that you answered.
Yeah.
You said, great answer, but I'm saying, are there consequences in afterlife for the life we lived?
Yeah, the consequences are that you come back if you don't make the grade. And the consequences are that you can be in a particular realm or abode for a very long time, meaning that what people are calling hell are states of consciousness and states of mind, and they're places where you will be going through things like, if you haven't burnt out your desires, yeah, let's say for example, when I went through the 9 diseases, one of them was greed. Let's say you're somebody that loved chocolate or sex or something of the physical nature that you're attached to. You will be in a realm where you will eat cake till you're sick of it, or you just have so much cake or sex, or you know what I mean, like to the point where you will be literally sick of it. So you have to burn out that desire so that you can then move on. So this is where the hell concept and things like that come from. You might be in an abode where there's lots of disembodied souls or ghouls or like beasts and demons, and all they do is attack you all day. So you can actually make your own hell by the things that you do. So if you murder people, you might be in a realm where, you know, you're going to get murdered over and over and over again. You know, these are realities, but they're called 9 gates of irrealities until you kind of like go through the gates and then either make it and then you go back again through the gates, and if you make it, then you can kind of like move on. But yeah, it's you. You torture yourself and you go through hell. This place, Earth, is a hell if you can't elevate past the 9 diseases that I mentioned before. Yeah, I hope that's answer that.
Does Enki or Enlil or any Anunnaki have fingerprints like we do?
That's a good question. Yes, they do, but obviously I haven't pulled up their police record or arrest record to see if they've been. They do, because the reason that I can say they do is because you're made in the image and likeness of these beings, and so if you have fingerprints, but that's a good question. I may have to just double check on that, but using 9 reasoning, I will say we do, because if you look at the beings that were mixed from, in terms of the different races. Oh, someone's coming up to speak. Yeah, but unless any other student, teacher, or anyone else knows another answer to that, that's what I would go with for now.
What does the master teacher say about cannabis?
What he says about it. Cannabis is a very broad term, but as a herb, as a natural herb, there's nothing wrong with consuming it in the way it was meant to be, like a tea or something. But what people do is they don't realize that the producers of cannabis or weed or any of these drugs are now adding things to it, chemicals and different things, so it's not natural. And you're not meant to be smoking anyway. Your lungs are not designed for you to put smoke into. And you're now mixing it with tobacco, with Rizzler paper, and all these things. So it's not natural, and it's an intoxicant. And when you're intoxicated, and an intoxication can even be from like coffee, it can be from, like we said, tobacco. It's not just weed. I know you've had your hand up for a while, so let me let you come in. But yeah, let me just finish. So the master teacher does not encourage us to be intoxicated in any shape or form, and that includes cannabis.
What does it say in the scriptures, Bible? speaking. What I'm saying, like in terms of like cannabis alone,
Yeah.
is it corrupting your DNA?
Yeah.
At all? So basically, you're supposed to be incorruptible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He says be natural and do not, don't take any intoxicant. Is that it? You're 20?
There's more. I'll do the last one.
Okay. Because I've got a few
few
people waiting in line on this.
How would you define reincarnation?
Again, this is a religious concept in the way that it's taught. Reincarnation implies that you're coming back again in the same body, because cardinal, when you say carnation, that cardinal means you're coming back in the same body, which is not possible, because when you translate or cross over, your body decomposes and the elements go back to the different elements. So you will never be able to come back in the same body. That's what reincarnation means in the way they teach it in most religious concepts. However, you can reincarnate. I read at the beginning the master teacher saying he's reincarnated here many times. Let me see if I can just read it again quickly, because that will just literally answer that question. What was that first? Oh yeah, it was this one. So you can, as I said, come back through the wormhole, which is why people see the white light, and that's a wormhole to bring them right back here if they haven't made the grade. So yeah, on page 5 of the proof, he says, I incarnate from time to time. I am a deity in the person. Now, the problem with people is this, yeah? Every race, so you have Christians, Muslims, Jews, they have a system of deities. So they'll have prophets, they'll have messiahs, they'll have gods, and everyone is entitled to have that. But with us, it's almost like we are not allowed to say we have our own gods or our own messiahs or our own, and so yeah, we teach our doctrine based on our ancestors passing on their genetics to you, and then you give birth to children who are you, and it goes on and on. So that's a reincarnation, because the soul and the spirit and the physical blood gets recycled and passed down. Yeah, so yes, you can reincarnate, but not like you're gonna come in and be a pig or be a dog, or because it doesn't work. The science doesn't work that way. Like your DNA and your genetics have to align with what you're coming into. So you have to come into your family bloodline or your DNA lineage. So you are a reincarnation of maybe your great grandma, pa, or whatever. But yeah, this. Cool. That yeah, excellent. Right, I'm glad I got through those. Right, Topaz, you were waiting, and I hope moderators are bringing people up on the stage if they have questions. And Zoom, please. Yeah, Topaz, go ahead.
Right, 2 questions. The first one is, if